Hi artists! Today we are going to make collagraphs. Collagraphs are a type of printmaking. It is where you take objects, found objects, things that have lots of texture. So you take lots of textured materials, you glue them down to what we call a plate. We're going to use a piece of cardboard for our plate. I have a lot of different textured materials for you in various bins around our classroom. You're going to cut different shapes. You're going to glue them down to your plate with regular glue. And once that dries, then the next time we have art, we will ink the plates. We'll put some paint on these plates and we'll make a print. You can use, as you see here, different colors, but I'll teach you how to ink and print in another video. Today, it's all about creating our design for our collagraph plate. The one thing I want you guys to think about is contrast. Contrast of shape and contrast of texture. Now, as you remember, contrast is when two things are different from one another. We've used shape, circles, and lines to create that contrast. And we have some contrast with some lines going vertically and some lines going horizontally, and then the circles in there to create a little bit more contrast. Sketchbooks and create some simple designs. Now, your design for your plate could be based on something that we would see, something in nature. So a simple landscape, like some mountains. A flower would work good too. Thinking again of contrast, I would want this shape to be a completely different texture than the petals. And maybe each petal could be a different contrast texture. And then maybe I just use some string to glue down to create some lines in the background. That might look like vines. So you're going to design 3 ideas. I have 2 that are based on nature, and then 1 design that is just abstract. It is just based on shapes. So I have some lines and then some circles to create my contrast. I think I'm going to use this design. So once I get my design, you've okayed it with me, then you're going to pick your cardboard for your plate. I've got a whole box of them. You can decide what size you want. I like to very quickly just kind of draw my idea out onto my plate. That way I know where to glue things, is to have at least 4 different types of materials that you're gluing down. 4 different types of materials. Don't just use the same material and glue it down. Pick at least 4 different kinds of materials. All right, I have a bunch of textured materials here that I collected from the bins, and I'm going to start creating my plate. So I think I like to always start with the larger shapes first. That way, in case I have some overlapping, it is easier to put smaller things on top of bigger things. I'm going to start with this corrugated cardboard, and I think instead of using scissors to cut my shapes, I'm just going to tear it. And again, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I know I want it to be a rough edge that's kind of curved. So I'm just going to use my fingers and tear it to make a fun line. Again, it doesn't need to fit on my drawing perfectly. I don't really care. I just want the general idea. So I like that. I'm not going to glue anything down yet. I just want to place some of these around. I like to balance my shapes out. So I'm going to put this one here, that one, and then this one down here a little bit lower. As I work, I just want to make sure again that I am using materials that are creating contrast. This is bubble wrap, so I'm going to put some of it over here to create those bubbles. So this time I think I might cut it and maybe just a random shape. I just don't want what we call hard edges. I want more soft edges. All right, we're going to use regular glue to do that. My glue bottle isn't well, let's see. It's so low down here because there's not very much glue. I'm actually going to unscrew the lid and I'm going to use a paintbrush. You guys probably won't have to do that because you have fuller glue bottles. If you do use a paintbrush, make sure you rinse it out after you're done. I like to use a lot of glue. Make sure you're gluing the shape. Do not put the glue on your plate. You don't know where you're going to need it. Just like when we use the collage center, put the glue on your shape. And this time, I don't want you guys to use dot, dot, not a lot. Cover the whole shape. We want to make sure these pieces stick down. And then I'm going to hold it down like this. I might even want to brush some of that glue right on top. The more glue, the merrier. This is why, for me, right now, it's easier to use paintbrush. If your glue bottle is very full, though, and you stick your paintbrush all the way down like I am, you're going to get glue all the way up to here. This is why I don't really want you guys using paintbrushes. So you just squeeze it out. Then what you can do is use your finger or a scrap piece of cardboard to move the glue around on the shape. When you use bubble wrap, make sure you put the glue on the flat side, not on the bubbles. You want the bubbles sticking up so that they get printed. All right, so lots of glue, artists. Cover your shape. Look at how I'm putting glue around the whole shape. Hands clean. You can even keep the rag at your table. So as you work, you can clean your hands. Now, for the plastic bag like this, this is the exception. I am going to put my glue down on my plate because it would be kind of hard to put the glue on the plastic. If I try to put the glue on the plastic, see how it's like folding in on itself, and I'm not sure where it's going. But now that I have the glue on there, I can stick the plastic bag on top. And then I want to, just to ensure that that plastic bag is glued down there, I'm going to also put a layer of glue on top of the plastic bag. Because we are going to add paint on top of these, the water from the paint will start to release the glue after we've printed, probably around 7 to 10 times. So the more glue you have on your plate, on your objects, the less likely those objects are going to be peeling off. The glue is going to ensure that they stay on your plate as you print. And sometimes, see how my inner tube is flipping up? Sometimes you just need to wait, push down, add some pressure, and just let things dry before you move on. So we have the whole class period to create our plates. Have a plate finished by the end of class today, so next time we come to class, you can print. All right, have fun making your plates, artists.